It's on anyway.
Good evening and welcome to the Talking Sport podcast, Wales. My name is Jake. I am joined by, I need to say my name is Ricky then. My name is Jake. I am joined by Sticky Ricky and Josh, who you can't see at the moment. Amazing week in wrestling this week. Let's get started. So we'll start with Josh, and he wanted to talk about a certain superstar who was involved in a ladder match. Maybe not for the right reasons, but what did you think of the ladder match first off, Josh?
Yeah, cheers, Jake. I'd like to talk about, obviously, the ladder match at Revolution in general, but also more specifically about Penta El Zero Miedo, my brilliant Spanish there. Overall, I thought the ladder match was good. There was obviously some good storytelling with Cody and his shoulder, things like that. There was obviously the surprise entrant, who I believe young Ricardo is going to be having a little chat about later. It was mostly just talk about Penta, really. I think he's very much been sort of outshone by Rey Fenix recently. I think when they first came into AEW, it was very much, Penta was the main guy and Phoenix was sort of, the secondary guy in the tag team. However, now I'd say it's massively switched the other way. After Phoenix's matches with Archer, also his match against Omega, and then also what he did with Pac a little bit earlier in the night in the tag team battle royale. But it was mostly just say really with Penta, he seems to, every time he got the upper hand in that match, I know he's done it, since his time in Lucha Underground and Impact, things like that. But he just kept doing taunts. It was like you were playing like SmackDown versus Raw 2009, and you got like, more lives, or more like your bar got filled back up if you kept doing taunts. It was like that. It was every single time he, did a big move, every single time he did something good, he'd be there just doing his taunts. And it annoyed me slightly because I think, they want to try and get, the realism into the match. He just kept basically being a video game character. And I think also AEW's camera work wasn't the best when I can't remember which two superstars were on top of the ladder and they're like, Penta's out of the match, he's out of the match. You could just see him peering over the ring apron with a chair, just sort of watching the match go on. And I was a bit like, well, we all know what's coming there. We all know he's going to be involved in the ending in some way, and that chair is going to be involved. But overall, I thought it was a good match. Very happy for Scorpio Sky to have won. I think Scorpio Sky is a brilliant, brilliant talent. And he was brilliant with SCU. He was brilliant in that match against Omega, a while back. I think he's, a massively underrated talent. And I can't wait to see the match versus him and Darby Allin on Wednesday, if Darby Allin is still alive after the street fight. But happy with the match overall, but would have preferred it if Penta did less, taunts during the match and focused a bit more on actually literally grabbing the brass ring.
All right, that's cool, Josh. Sorry. Ricky, what were your thoughts on it before we go to your topic of interest?
I'll just carry on with it, mate, because obviously it's kind of linked anyway. But there was a meme out, I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter, of the brass ring and Sonic on the top rope, ready to get it. It was that big. It was like stick off Sonic the Hedgehog. But I thought it was a great match, the ladder match. Agree with Josh. Lots of great superstars. I thought they were teasing it when Sean Spears came back last week and they did the old Horseman thing with Tully and FTR. I thought maybe they would come out and help Cody, but it never happened. But there's still time for that. But the guy I wanted to talk about in the match was old All Ego Ethan Page, the new signing into AEW. And I know he was on Impact before, so some will probably be saying, well, it's easy now with the fact that they've linked up, but he didn't really leave Impact on good terms in the end. But he's just class. I said it with you guys before, I think on our previous podcast as well as this one, when I was thinking of people who I wanted to see in either WWE and AEW, and I said about the North being a great tag team, him and obviously Josh Alexander, but he's come over on his own. He he's a veteran, which I didn't know, but yeah, a veteran of the game. Been there around 14 years now. Obviously, you were mentioning his matches he had with Darby Allin and stuff in the independents, which were brilliant. But yeah, he's a fantastic athlete more than anything else. He's brilliant in the ring, which I think he showed, and he plays the heel very well. So going to be interesting to see how they use him. They do like people who turn up pretty soon going for titles. If the other guys who've turned up are based on anything, the likes of Brody Lee and Lance Archer and everyone, and obviously Brian Cage, when they first turned up, all of them pretty soonish had either world or TNT titles. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with him. But yeah, for me, Ethan Page, he's a future champion, and definitely there's not many better signings that they could have made than having him join the AEW brand.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of competition there at the minute. But yeah, just as a quick word in, I love the ladder match. Of course, the introduction debut of Ethan Page, who's won quite a lot of titles, who started from Alpha One, and then went through to Ring of Honor as well. To turn his nose into Impact, and he was quite successful. It's a bit of a shame that he left, but that's another hit on Impact at the moment. They are struggling as it is, so be interesting to see what he does with his AEW career. But yeah, a very good match, and I'm glad, as you said, that Scorpio Sky got the victory, and to be honest, thoroughly deserves a title shot against Allen. So let's go with Ricky's second choice, which I cannot remember. Fuck.
The guy I talk about all the time, and the Prince, of course.
Yes, of course. Yes. Sorry, I have so much on my mind at the moment. Yes. So the Prince Finn Balor and called out Adam Cole. Unfortunately, Adam wasn't there on Wednesday night. But, them two can have a great match. And Ricky, what were your thoughts on that particular?
I'm really looking forward to it. NXT as a whole this week. Really, we've got the women's title match as well. That's going to happen there, of course, with Toni Storm and Io Shirai. But yeah, that's that, as they said on commentary, Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix, they said it's a takeover worthy match, and it definitely is. I'm sure it's not the first time that Adam Cole and Finn Balor have met in the ring. Obviously, they had a brilliant match for the NXT title in NXT last year, but I'm sure they've met plenty of times before that. But as Josh said before, these two are top of their game, and along with AJ Styles, three former Bullet Club leaders. And I don't have to say much about Adam Cole. He's been one of my favorite wrestlers since he's come to WWE a few years back, and he just continues to evolve his character into a fantastic, not only performer but brilliant on the mic. And I'm just expecting a great match. Obviously, Finn, we know what he can do in the ring. He had a great match with Roderick Strong on NXT last week, which Roderick Strong has got new music, which was weird. And Adam Cole is still wearing the UE gear, so it's very strange at the moment. But yes, two fantastic athletes, two fantastic people on the mic, whether it's performance. They're both leaders, and it's just going to be a great match. I expect it to go 30, 40 minutes. We're going to see all of their big shots. I expect there'll be kickouts from their finishing moves, whether Cole kicks out of the coup de grace or Balor out of the last shot. And yeah, it's just going to be an amazing match, and just going to be brilliant to watch. And very surprised they're letting us see it. Maybe it is to follow Revolution. They thought we'll have two brilliant title matches to try and bump our ratings. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what both guys do and how they leave it out there this Wednesday night.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously something to look forward to. Josh, have you got any word on that particular match on Wednesday?
Yeah, I think from anyone who sort of listened to the podcast or any of our chats, really, I'm a massive Finn Balor fan. Love Adam Cole as well. I think Balor's very much sort of playing into the New Japan style of wrestling at the moment. That's what screams out to me with his title reign, is that he has a title match, he puts it all on the line, he gets, kind of injured, so he's not wrestling week in, week out, which is more the WWE style. Normally they have their champions sort of wrestling every week, or at least they did, maybe not so much at the moment. But yeah, he's very much sort of leaving it all out there in the ring, and then he's, not fighting for a few weeks, which is very much, how I think the matches with Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega a few years ago at Wrestle Kingdom, things like that, that's how they could go as long as they did and get, the star ratings they did from Dave Meltzer. However, ludicrous 7.25 stars is, but it's because New Japan don't have their champions wrestle week in, week out. They give them the chance to sort of recover. They don't have the house show circuit and things like that. And I think Balor and Cole are very much going to have that sort of style of match as well. Leave it all out there, absolutely beat the hell out of each other, and then probably not wrestle for a little while because they need to get back and get healthy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Of course, the fantastic athletes from the outset, so should be wonderful. We'll go back to you now, Josh, with another interesting topic of choice. Bobby Lashley bringing the pain to the Miz after literally a week, with the Miz at the top. In my opinion, it was probably one of the worst decisions I think I've seen in regards to Miz's reign. And I think probably Ricky was quite gutted since he's a big fan, but a big change for the WWE universe, of course. But what was your take on it? Were you impressed, or was it just another champion?
I think it's a big shock going into Mania, sort of this close to Mania season, having a sort of entire, landscape of Monday Night Raw shift. Personally, I'd like to see a Drew McIntyre Bobby Lashley match at Mania. I think obviously with Drew's performances the last couple of weeks with Sheamus, maybe they'll have a blow off at Fastlane, and then it can go in that way. But yeah, I think with the Miz, it's like I've said a million times, I feel that he's deserved the WWE title due to all his work over the last few years, and I think it's been good that he's won it. It's a shame that he's lost it so quickly. But then at the same time, I'd say that it's elevated him as well, because with the Money in the Bank briefcase, he was, a little bit of a joke. No one could really see him being champion. Obviously, he's won it, and even in that, that short time, that week with the title, it's sort of, made him more credible again. Obviously, Bobby Lashley sort of destroying him. It's made Bobby Lashley massively credible. Bobby Lashley looks like that unbeatable killer that he did, during times in TNA. And I think what McMahon was hoping he would be, back around, WrestleMania 22, 23, that sort of time when he was obviously the ECW champion. But yeah, I think it's a good booking decision with regards to obviously Lashley having the title. I think with the Hurt Business as well. It's nice to see a faction doing so well in WWE that isn't on NXT. We always say AEW is very, very faction heavy, and WWE is maybe a little faction light. But I think the Hurt Business are doing amazingly with what they've got at the moment, and obviously MVP is massively, like, he's been the standout. I think talker and everything since he came back at the January 2020 Royal Rumble. But yeah, Bobby Lashley being the third ever African-American WWE champion, obviously after Kofi Kingston and The Rock, obviously with The Rock's father being the Soul Man Rocky Johnson. But yeah, I think it's good to see Lashley being booked strongly. I think last year at Mania was a little bit of a low point. Obviously, he lost to Aleister Black in an okay match, but since then he's really been on a massive tear, really built himself up, and for once I think it's actually nice to not really know what's going to be happening at Mania. Obviously, we've got the Edge Roman feud that's sort of locked in, but yeah, we don't know whether it's going to be Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, Lashley versus The Miz, Lashley versus a returning Brock Lesnar. There's just so many fresh matches out there, because he's sort of been kept away from the main event scene by being the US champion. So there's so many fresh matches, fresh feuds, and although we like to see things, have a storyline, have a lead into WrestleMania, it's nice that with, still about 40 days to go, there is still some, I need to tune into Raw to see, who's going to be going up against him. And, I think Lashley's really, really come into his own. So, yeah, congratulations to him. Obviously, I would have preferred The Miz to have a slightly longer reign, but booking decisions, it makes sense. And I saw something online that's saying Lashley, when he came to the curtain with the title, Vince McMahon gave him a massive hug and said, "I'm so proud of you," which, is lovely because it's a side that we haven't really seen of Lashley, and we don't see that side of Vince too often either. So, congratulations to him, and I'm looking forward to see where he goes with the title heading into WrestleMania season.
I thought his name was Bobby Langley, Josh.
No, that's just an iPhone with a with wonderful autocorrect. Apparently, Lashley isn't a word according to my phone.
Sorry, Jake. Yeah, carry on, mate.
Sounds like a guy who should have been in the Brawl for All in 1999. You could see a Bobby Langley match versus the Godfather anytime today, probably. But yeah, I think, I do agree that Lashley does deserve it. I think he's, whether heel or face, I think in her business he works really well. And obviously a big favourite of like Drew McIntyre, really. I do agree, even though I'm not a big fan of The Miz, that he should have had a longer reign as champion, spanning maybe to a couple of months rather than a week or two. So that was quite disappointing. They could have just kept the Money in Bank briefcase on notice, to be honest. And it's just one of those things. I think the title is just, or just is all these titles being just being passed around like all the time, constant basis, like the hardcore title was back in the day, or the 24/7 title is now. Is it really credible? Either one, in 2 weeks' time, Lashley losing to Miz, through interruptions from Morrison or whoever it is. So let's hope they keep Lashley credible until WrestleMania. Let's hope that Brock comes back. Let's hope that WWE listen to the fans, because in my opinion, it's a money match that is for everyone. And I'm sure Lesnar will be in great form and probably will be the face at this point. Sorry, Rick.
Did you say that after the last time you've seen Brock Lesnar, you wish you don't have to see him ever again? It's the same as Goldberg.
Well, I can't remember that, I'm afraid. So I'll have to have a look. I'll have a listen.
I'll find the edit.
Okay. I think that was a time where I sort of like fallen out with him, but since I've had a break from him, I feel like revitalized, refreshed, and I'm ready for Brock to back my arms again. That's not any reference at all, if you're thinking that. So yeah, that's what I think anyway. So I think I've covered both of your two topics. I think. Probably haven't, but I think. Just quickly, what I wanted to talk about before we close out the show today is I want to talk about the AEW Women's Title match on Revolution on Sunday. I thought it was a bit of a disappointment myself. I'm not sure if NJPW was slow to build up, but this was definitely like I was watching it in slow motion. I think it might just be the way that these matches are, but like when she does a match, I can remember it being quite like fast paced, but maybe it was just Mizunami just slowing the pace down a little bit. But I was a bit bored sort of halfway through, and that's a disappointment really, because I think it could have been given more time. But I suppose considering how old Mizunami is, I don't know how old she is, but I'm assuming it'd probably be like 40s or something. Maybe one of you guys can clear it up. Do you know how old Mizunami is at all?
Josh, I have no idea how old she is.
I have no clue, mate. I know she was thinking of retiring, but I have no idea. Sorry.
Let's let's just say Undertaker age late 50s then. So yeah, it was a very slow match. It came, as he blow for blow really. The chops and everything else, with some outstanding moves. But to be fair, I think on the other end of the scale, I think Mizunami probably should have deserved to won that match, and she went through hell with that tournament, especially with Nyla Rose in the tournament match. So maybe it would have been nice for her to win it. But saying that, if they team up in that 6-woman tag match, which I hope happens on Wednesday, because it was National Women's Day yesterday, so I hope that they Tony Khan puts that as the main event. Because obviously Rose came out, Brahika came out, and then Thunder Rosa came out, so I'm hoping they'll make a tag match out of that. And I hope hopefully it'll be Wednesday. If not, it'll be Double or Nothing. So that's what I'm hoping. But I was a bit disappointed. What did you boys think, Rick? Start with you, I suppose.
Well, I thought, it's a tough one. I think it was on a card that had so many big matches, and no one really knows, as they just showed by us not knowing her name, who Ryo Mizunami is. So yeah, I think that's obviously going to be something that's affected it. It was just, if you're asking me what I thought was the most disappointing match, it's probably that one, but I didn't think it was a bad match. I just thought that, I probably didn't know enough about Mizunami, but Sheeta was brilliant as usual. The fact that she was able to lift her in the Falcon Arrow when she had all that damage done, I thought was brilliant, and the right move. I think, she's the longest reigning champion in AEW, and I think that she deserves to keep that. Like, say, maybe, hopefully she has a match with someone like Britt Baker at Double or Nothing, and then maybe we see the title change hand then.
Josh, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, I think I said it several times now. I think I'm not the biggest fan of the AEW women's division. I think since basically its inception, obviously Ryo had the title initially, then dropped it to Nyla Rose. Ryo wasn't around then because of the COVID pandemic, and she's sort of come back now and again, but not really done anything. And obviously she just had the title, but doesn't defend it too often. And then they're getting Nyla Rose to come out and attack her again. It's like we've seen that feud. And Britt Baker, I think, is the money player in that women's division, but she doesn't really seem to, be getting pushed towards the title maybe as she should be. Like Ricky said, it'd be brilliant to see that match and have Britt Baker take the title. But then at the same time, who's she really going to face? No one's really popping into my head. I think what sums it up is the fact that, a superstar who's come over from Japan, who isn't an AEW talent, is the winner of that tournament. I think it shows the lack of depth in that women's division. And I think with, the Knockouts division being consistently, probably the most consistent women's division. It's not brilliant, it's not terrible. I think it's always consistent. The NXT women's division being, amazing. And obviously there's the 4 horsewomen of WWE who are, consistently, performing well as well. So I think, the women's division in AEW is a real low point for me. And I think it's summed up by the title, which does look like one of the toy titles used to get by in Woolworths when I was about 10 years old. But yeah, hopefully Sheeta's a brilliant champion, but I just don't think that division's booked correctly. So fingers crossed, her and Baker have a nice long feud and really bring up that division sort of to where it should be.
Yeah, so fair enough. Both you gents. The last thing I just wanted to discuss before we head off is I just wanted to talk about the future of Randy Orton, really. Of course, he's been in this feud with and Bray Wyatt a long time, probably 3 years. Pretty much starting from when Orton burnt his shed down, or whatever it was. But it was it's been quite strange. I have a quick sort of proposal regarding this. I know that they've teased Wyatt coming back, or the Fiend coming back. I don't understand why they need Orton to puke up black stuff every 2 seconds. Yeah, I think my proposal will probably be that Orton and the Fiend will have a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania probably, and that may spell the end of Orton as a professional wrestler. Maybe going into the independent circuit. I know he's been loyal for a while with WWE, but maybe he needs a change. So I just wanted to get a quick word from you, Ricky. What do you think?
Probably will see their match at WrestleMania. I agree with you. I'm not sure what it'll be and whether he comes back as the Fiend or we get some weird Randy Orton versus Randy Orton match where he's dressed up like him. But it will be some kind of cinematic thing if they're going to go down that route, definitely. But no, definitely, I can't see Randy Orton ever leaving WWE. As much as maybe you could argue that, is he going to win many more championships in WWE? Probably not. But at the same time, his family, third generation. I know a few other stars who were third generation have gone, but not with Orton. I think he's still, even if he's not champion, he is that cornerstone now. Cena's gone. He's the guy who's the face of the company, even alongside Roman Reigns. I don't think he's going anywhere.
And your opinion, Josh, quickly?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Ricky. I think, it will be some kind of hokey match at Mania against the Fiend. But yeah, I agree with the fact that I don't think Orton will go anywhere. I think, he's going to be the man to either tie or break Ric Flair's record. The 16 world titles. I read an interview with Ric Flair earlier saying that he wants it to either be Randy, Charlotte, or he said he wouldn't mind if it was John Cena, but he feels that he should be a full-time performer, which I think is, fair enough. And I'm still going for WrestleMania 40, John Cena versus Randy Orton for the world title to break the record, both of them on 16, and loser, retires from WWE. And I think potentially both of them might retire. Whoever wins next night will say, yeah, broken the record, have the title, we're going to retire. So yeah, I think with Orton, he interacts with a lot of the guys from the independent scene, interacts with a lot of guys from AEW on Twitter and things like that. But I think that's just because his position in the company is so secure. He can do whatever he wants, and he's still always going to be Vince's number one. So yeah, I don't personally see him leaving WWE.
All right, well, that's all we got time for today. My name's been Jake. This is Ricky, and we've been joined by the lovely Josh as well. But yeah, thank you all for watching the podcast today. We'll be back next Monday around the same time probably. Be straight up on YouTube, as we are a YouTube only podcast at the moment. Just to say as well, congratulate Ricky on his newly launched Ricky Talks website. I'm sure he'll put that in the description for you to look at all the latest news and sports events from around the world as well. So congratulations on that. And yeah, I think that's all we got time for. So thank you, Rick.
Cheers, mate. And let's just say well done to Christian as well, obviously. AEW.
Yeah. Congratulations to Christian. Thank you, Josh.
Cheers, mate.
And thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye.
Cheers, Jake.